Crime, including gang violence and murder have been hounding communities across the Cape Flats for decades, with many residents describing their living conditions as unbearable, compounded by socio-economic challenges, poverty and unemployment. Calls for the deployment of the army have for years been labelled as politicking. But in July this year, troops rolled into various townships to help police stabilise crime. Communities ravaged by crime and gangsterism are now pinning their hopes on the new Western Cape Police Commissioner to bring steadfast leadership and stability to police in the Western Cape. The experienced former acting head of the Hawks, Yolisa Matakata, takes office in January.
A spike in murders across Cape Town saw the number of murders rise to a staggering 73 in one weekend in early June. Police officers were not spared. Sergeant Donovan Prince was based at the Steenberg police station and was shot and killed by fleeing suspects. At the time, he was one of 26 police officers killed nationally while on duty.
Hy was 'n mens en elke dag het hy 'n smile op sy gesig gesien.
He was a people's person and had a smile on his face every day. He went out of his way for everybody, for me and for his family. As far as his work is concerned, he had a lot of passion. I don't know how I'm going to live without him.
In July, 11 people were killed in one weekend in Philippi East alone. In the first incident, 6 women were gunned down in the Marcus Garvey informal settlement, and the following day, 5 more.
Every day and every week there are killings. Like yesterday, there were 5 of them who were killed. And the day before, there were about 7 people. We don't know what's going on.
In July, the army was finally deployed as part of Operation Lockdown to various hotspots in a bid to quell the violence. While some, desperate for a semblance of safety, welcomed the move, others felt that the military presence was not the answer.
I didn't even see an impact here with this police here. If someone is coming with a gun to shoot this fancy boys here, you come to them, they say you must go to the police station because they're not here for that. So why are they here?
The army come there in the house, in the police, in the metro police, so they tell us to go down, we go down. And so they pick up my one friend and start hitting him. When they finish with him, he must do push-ups there for him.
Weeks after the deployment, police said significant inroads had been made. Violent crime, however, continued. The rape and murder of UCT student Uyinene Mkhwetjana in August sent shockwaves across the country and sparked protests against gender-based violence. The film and media studies student was found buried in a shallow grave in Khayelitsha days after she went missing. She was violently attacked and raped in this post office by a post office employee. Luyanda Buerta, who had a criminal record, confessed and was sentenced to 3 life terms.
He was only able to, make that confession on realizing that, in fact, the investigating officer had already seen where she, the lady, was buried.
Less than a week later, UWC theology student Jessie Hess and her 85-year-old grandfather Chris Lateghan were found murdered in their Parow flat. 2 suspects, one of them a 31-year-old relative, were arrested and appeared in court.
Both have previous convictions, including drug possession for accused 2. Accused 1, I think there's a pending rape case at the Wynberg Magistrates Court, and he's got a previous rape case as well against him.
In September, 2 policemen came under fire outside a tavern in Mfuleni. Constable Terence Mostert was wounded in the incident. His colleague, Warrant Officer Hilton Joseph, succumbed.
My father was a very stern person. He loved his job. He was a very stoic person. He was a man of few words. He was a man. He was full of love and joy.
In the same month, 3 children and an adult were gunned down in Alsis River in a suspected gang-related attack. 3 people were arrested. In early December, police said Operation Lockdown had resulted in the arrests of over 2,600 suspects since July, with over 1,000 firearms confiscated. The police minister gave the update while visiting the family of 10-year-old Aisha Kelly, who was caught in alleged gang crossfire in Tafelsig, Mitchells Plain.
169 of them are charged for murder and other different cases. So if you say arresting 2,615 people does not make difference, and with a lot of more than 1,000 firearms that have been confiscated, I'm just thinking, if all these criminals were outside and if all these illegal firearms were out there, how much damage that would be there.
And then, on Friday the 13th of December, former leader of the notorious Hard Livings gang, Rashid Stahi, was shot and killed in a hail of bullets while sitting in a car outside his family home in Salt River. This, a day after the leader of the Hard Livings was gunned down in Mitchell's Plain. With the recent appointment of the former acting head of the Hawks and provincial head of crime intelligence in the Western Cape, Yolisa Matakata, as the province's police commissioner, as well as at least 1,000 new police recruits, it's hoped that crime will decrease. Vanessa Puna, SABC News, Cape Town.
Well, over 3,000 holidaymakers and locals in St. Francis Bay in the Eastern Cape took part in a flash float along the canals in the coast